Today, we're diving into Soren Kierkegaard's incredible philosophical duel between two figures, the tragic hero and the knight of faith. Now, both of them have to make a sacrifice that seems absolutely impossible, but their choices send them down wildly different paths, and in the process, they challenge everything we think we know about ethics and faith.
All right, let's get right into it. To really get a grip on this, you first have to imagine being at the center of an impossible choice. A moment where no matter what you do, you're going to face a massive personal loss. It's a dilemma as old as time.
I mean, really think about it for a second. Have you ever been in a spot where your choice was so personal, so private, that trying to explain it would just be pointless? People would only see what you did, not why you did it. And it's in that incredibly lonely space that our two figures are born. So on one side, you've got the tragic hero. His actions, while painful, make sense to the rest of us. They happen out in the open, and they line up with a shared code of ethics. But then on the other side, you have the knight of faith. And his actions, they're just baffling. They're private, and they seem to shatter every ethical rule in the book.
So let's start with the guy we can all sort of recognize, the one who acts in a world that's governed by rules we actually understand. Let's explore the world of the tragic hero.
The classic example here is Agamemnon. He's a king and has been told he has to sacrifice his own daughter, Iphigenia. Why? To appease the gods so his ships can sail to war. I mean, it is a horrific, gut-wrenching choice, but it's done for a reason his entire society can understand: the survival and the glory of the state. You see, Agamemnon operates entirely within what Kierkegaard calls the universal, and this is basically just the shared social rulebook. The collection of moral laws and duties that holds a community together. It's the world of ethics, where your actions are judged by how much they benefit the whole group. So the tragic hero's sacrifice, as absolutely devastating as it is justifiable inside the system. It's understood, maybe even admired. His pain is out in the open, it's shared. And because he's doing it for the sake of the many, he can find some sliver of comfort in the idea that he's a noble servant of the common good. But what if the highest calling isn't to serve the system? What if it's something else entirely? Now, we're going to step outside of society's rulebook, and we're entering a truly terrifying, lonely space with a figure who answers to a completely different authority. And here he is, Abraham. God commands him to sacrifice his beloved son, Isaac. But look at the difference. Unlike Agamemnon, there is no state to save here. There's no army to lead. This command is private, it's personal. And from any normal human perspective, it is utterly monstrous. It serves no universal good whatsoever. You see, Abraham is acting in the realm of the absolute. This is a direct, one-on-one, private relationship with the divine that doesn't just go beyond our shared ethics. It can completely contradict them. In this case, the absolute duty to God completely suspends the ethical duty not to murder your own child. It's a mind-bending paradox. And this quote just perfectly captures the cost. The community praises Agamemnon for doing his terrible duty. But Abraham? If he tried to explain what he was doing, people would see him as a murderer or maybe even a lunatic. He is completely and utterly alone, unable to explain a journey that simply defies all human logic. Okay, so we've met our two figures. Now let's really put them side by side to dig into the massive chasm that separates them. This is where the real heart of Kierkegaard's argument comes into focus. One of the biggest differences is how they relate to language itself. The tragic hero can speak. He can cry. He can explain himself. His community gets his sorrow because it fits into a shared human experience. But the knight of faith? He has to be silent. His private ordeal can't be translated into the language of the universal. And his silence isn't a choice. It's a consequence of being in a realm where our words just don't work anymore. Now, they do share one critical first step. Kierkegaard calls it infinite resignation. It's a fancy term for a simple, painful idea. They both give up the one thing they love most in the entire world, their child, for what they see as a higher calling. They both resign all earthly happiness. But right here is the game changer. The tragic hero stops at resignation. He finds a sort of grim peace in his virtuous sorrow. The knight of faith, though, he performs what's called a double movement. After giving everything up, he then makes a leap of faith. He believes, against all logic and reason, that he's going to get Isaac back, right here, in this life. This is what Kierkegaard means by the absurd, a belief so wild it defies any rational explanation.
So you can see their greatness comes from totally different places. The tragic hero's greatness is his hardcore commitment to the ethical system. He's the peak of human morality. But the Knight of Faith's greatness comes from his relationship with the absurd, his trust in God when all the evidence says he's crazy. And for Kierkegaard, well, the hero is great for sure, but the knight is greater because he confronts the absolute directly, stepping way beyond the limits of human reason.
So what's the big takeaway here? I mean, why does this distinction between two ancient figures still matter so much to us today? Let's break down the final implications. First off, Kierkegaard is basically saying that faith isn't just an advanced level of being a good person. No, it's a radical leap beyond ethics altogether. Second, he's making a powerful case for the individual over the system. He's suggesting that a single person's private relationship with the absolute can actually be more significant than any universal law. And finally, we're left with these two models, the tragic hero's path of noble, understandable suffering, and the knight's path of terrifying, paradoxical joy. And that leaves us with the final, really provocative question. Which path actually holds more value? Is it better to live inside the secure, shared world of the universal, where your good deeds are recognized but your freedom is limited? Or do you risk everything for the radical, lonely freedom of the absolute, a path that no one else could ever truly understand?